Crystals are fun, and a lot of you like to collect them. For the folks selling crystals, it's a $1 billion a year business worldwide. Perhaps you bought some beautiful crystals. I have buckets and bags and boxes of crystals. I like my crystals. Some of them I've collected in the field, some of them I've bought at dealers or at shows. Lots of you enjoy collecting them in the field too. But how do they make you feel better? Do they make you feel better just because you bought them and you've collected them and you own them now? Or do they have some sort of mysterious, mystical, spiritual power to fix things as well? Can crystals make you feel spiritual and empowered? Can they really change your life? Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and today we're looking at healing powers of crystals and the benefits that they have. Crystals really are beautiful. They come in just a rainbow array of different colors and a staggering number of different crystal forms. They're also rare. Many of them are found only in a few places throughout the entire earth. Some crystals are considered very valuable because of their ability to be used as gemstones. A lot of people collect crystals just for the raw beauty that they have. Let's take a look at some really beautiful crystals to remind us of that raw beauty and why so many people collect them.
These three very different crystals are all one mineral. They're all just colored differently. This is all beryl, pink beryl morganite, blue beryl aquamarine, and this yellow-green beryl on the right is heliodor, which is a yellow-green kind of color. But more famous is, of course, the emerald, and then more rare is the red beryl from Utah. Copper gives us some truly beautiful mineral specimens. The deep blue of azurite and the green of the specimen is malachite. It's a common ore, but both common ore minerals for copper, but boy, did they make beautiful specimens. Tourmaline makes both beautiful gemstones and amazing crystal specimens. These large tourmaline crystals are from San Diego County in Southern California. And of course, we can't forget about gold. Gold makes its own beautiful specimens and comes in some amazing crystalline shapes. And those couple of examples are just why I really enjoy crystals so much. They're a lot of fun and beautiful to look at.
Now, crystals are used in a variety of scientific applications, in all kinds of electronic devices, our phones, our computers, the camera I'm shooting this on, televisions, cars, you name it. There's just all kinds of technology that employ crystals in one form or another. But there are a lot of people who collect crystals in the hopes that they can change their lives. People that are hurting in the hopes that the hurting can be stopped by the crystals, or that the crystals can make some of that hurting go away. And that healing crystal industry is a multi-million-dollar industry because there are so many people who are hurting and looking for answers. So can crystals really change your life by themselves? Do crystals have spiritual and mystical properties? Can they manifest things into your life that you would like to have? Well, yes and no. It's not a simple answer. Many times, if we believe in something strongly enough, there's a mental effect that takes place in people. It's called the placebo effect. And don't discount the placebo effect because it can do amazing things. I've had people tell me, because I've done videos on stuff called Ormus, and they've told me that Ormus has changed their lives. But Ormus has no physical benefits whatsoever. But for them, they believe, and it's made a big difference for them. I don't challenge the fact that those things have occurred. The placebo effect can work in medicines, but it can also work with crystals too. But as far as real, scientific, measurable types of benefits, I really don't believe that crystals have that kind of ability and the necessary properties to really heal hurting people. But there are ways to heal, and there are ways to get better, and there are ways to make better things happen in your life. It's just a lot of times they're pretty difficult. Unfortunately, there really are no easy shortcuts to healing in relationships and other areas of your life. Repairing the personal and physical damage in your life financial damage in your life is something that's not easy and can make for significant upheaval and change and pain in your life. Making these changes are not easy, and a lot of times it's not fun. This is the reason that most people are seeking an easier fix with things like crystals. Setting aside the idea of the placebo effect, the question becomes, which crystals are the right ones? What size crystals do you need? A gram? An ounce? A pound? Many guides just say pick the kinds of crystals and sizes that appeal to you. The properties that crystals supposedly possess vary from one expert to another. One guy will say this, another lady who's an expert will say that. They don't always necessarily agree. The ancients thought that crystals had mystical powers like this, but the things that the ancients thought that they did are nothing like what anybody's saying in modern times. So what is it? Were the ancients right? Are the modern people right? It's hard to really know. A large crystal dealer that's has a website and is operating today says things like there aren't any special rules for selecting the right crystals. If you're looking to create some sort of crystal grid for manifestation of things in your life, as with most crystal work, they say, just create it yourself, doing your own work with whatever appeals to you as far as whatever crystals you're looking at. Now, that kind of vague advice, is, from my opinion, not very helpful. And honestly, if I were looking to them as experts to guide me on what kind of crystals I needed to make changes in my life, I would feel more lost after looking at that than I did before I looked at it. Now, I understand and feel for those who are stuck in difficult times. I know life can be painful and difficult. I empathize with your pain. I've endured my own difficult seasons, and some people have a lot more difficult seasons than others. There are a lot of hurting and broken people in this world. We make decisions, we decide things, we hope that things will go well, we expect them to go well, but things happen that we don't expect. People don't react the way we'd like them to. Illness, cancer, other things can happen, and whether you have bad decisions or good decisions, things can happen outside of your control that can just destroy your life. And those things can be very painful. Things that are beyond our control that become deeply disappointing can affect us very seriously. And sometimes people have just like a cascade of one bad event after another, after another, after another. And we get to feeling really sorry for ourselves. We get to feeling like we're a victim of the system, of other people, of prejudice, hatred, other situations that are just beyond our control. We begin to feel sorry for ourselves. And I got to tell you that self-pity is one of the most corrosive and destructive emotions that you can experience. But there is no doubt that the pain is real. The pain just can't be ignored. And the pain is telling us that there's something wrong. Something needs to change. A very wise man once said, C.S. Lewis, he said that pain insists on being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures. He speaks to us through our conscience, but he shouts at us through our pain. Pain is God's megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Pain in our life does tell us that something is wrong and that some changes need to happen. Now, most of the crystals that are sold on the market are just various forms of gemstones. But crystals and Ouija boards, tarot cards, and similar things they often go together, and it's not unusual that they're sold in the same types of retail stores. There's no doubt that people have a thirst to connect with something spiritual, something meaningful, and something beyond this earthly realm. So many people are looking for answers. The danger comes when one turns to strange things and not to God. I think that when we are seeking answers, if you turn to those strange things and get too caught up with putting your hope in things like crystals or other related things, that's when the healing crystals can really hurt you. Some will seek to find answers in crystals, self-help, or other areas. Some will end up doing self-harm, cutting themselves, or considering even suicide. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor, but if things seem really bleak, I encourage you to take action and get help. All of us need people we can talk to and people we can trust. None of us are perfect, and sometimes the decisions we have to make real improvements are very difficult and upsetting, but they need to be made. Far too many self-help books will tell you something like, oh, follow your heart, or just do what your inner self tells you to do. And they dress it up to make these cliches sound like they're spiritual or deep, and they're not. They're just the kind of things that people want to be told, that their ears are itching to hear. They want an answer that's easy, and those are not good answers. We cling to the easy answers because we want to believe in them. We want things to be fixed easily. But deep down we know the real truth, that the resolution of most of our problems is going to be things that are normally very difficult and unpleasant to go through. It's important to remember that happiness does not come from money or any kind of other things. It's another false solution. Don't build your foundation and hopes in things like problem relationships, jobs, dreams, wealth, fame. All these things are just more fake solutions that are virtually guaranteed to fail to give you the satisfaction and peace that you're seeking. Again, I recommend trying to connect with God through faith, but not all folks will be open to that. As an alternative, try making helping others your focus. And do not do that to seek to earn praise. It must be done for the whole purpose of helping others. Be kind, be generous, be humble. Show respect to others, and as far as it's up to you, be at peace with everyone you come in contact with. Achieving a happy and joyful life is a complex thing. It's far more than just doing whatever you feel like at the moment. Living right, focusing on good things, kindness to friends and family, letting go of bitterness and anger, and finding satisfaction in the little things, and a sincere thankfulness to God for the blessings that you do have. These are the kinds of things that are the path to having a better life. Our postmodern culture sees life as some sort of accident of evolutionary chance. And so by that, it's inherently pointless, superficial, and without meaning or truth. People are searching for something with meaning and significance, and Christianity works because it's real and it's true. Now, I did a video about the meaning of life and how you can find meaning and significance in your life. I'm going to put a link to it up here, and I'll put a link to it down in the description as well. It's well worth watching. The peace that can be found in Jesus is well able to fix broken hearts, but it may take time, and it may take a change of heart in order to achieve that level of peace. But the opportunity in Christ is so huge that even if you would lean toward not checking it out, I would urge you to look into it seriously and give it a try as the antidote to the pain and hurt of our lives in a world of meaningless malaise. Now, I don't want to imply that looking to God and trusting in Jesus is the easy answer to solve all your problems. Jesus' call to love your neighbor as yourself is not an easy thing to do, and neither is the call to forgive those and pray for those that mistreat you. Now, none of these mean that you have to just sit there and take abuse and do nothing, but what it does mean is that we don't have the right to retaliate or get even with others. Sometimes we just need to walk away and let go. You may need to move or take a different job or make other serious changes to your life to move away from difficult people. But there's actually a great peace and strength in letting go, forgiving others, and moving on to a different direction. Harboring bitterness and anger is only something that works from within us to continue the damage and continue the hurt. Letting go is the answer. Forgiving the people who've done bad things to you. As best you can forgive them, let go and move on. I would urge you to take the time to look into and read the 4 New Testament Gospels about the life of Jesus and consider his words carefully. Keep an open mind as you read. If you haven't already done this, you'll find the story of his life to be gripping. Jesus is a tremendously attractive person in the wisdom of his teaching, in the depth of his character, and the authenticity of his life. Jesus is a man who was very well acquainted with the bitterest of grief. And it is by trusting in this man and following his teachings that we can become the men and women of grace, kindness, and love that we were meant to be. You can talk to him right now with the very simple prayer because he knows your very thoughts. I would also urge you to consider joining a church and getting involved in a community. If you want to consider these things further, there are plenty of resources out there, and I hope you'll take the time to look into it further. I'll put a link to some thought-provoking videos up here above, and I'll put the same links also in the description below. I appreciate your sticking with me thus far through this video. I do an awful lot of videos, and I've made a commitment that I want to do about one a year with a more spiritual theme, and of course, this is that video. I can say without a doubt that my faith has made a tremendous difference in my life and the lives of millions of others as well. I am not lonely as he is always with me. He is a stronghold and a source of assurance through difficult times of trials. And we all face troubled times at one time or another. Now, as far as any comments on this, please feel free to comment. As I do with all of my questions, I answer them. I always answer my comments. I will do my best to help, and I look forward to hearing from you. So think about what I have said and the desire that we all have for consolation when we are sad and purpose in our lives. For me, all of this is anchored in my faith in Jesus. And in him we find the fuller life that we are looking for. Look, crystals are fun, and I'll continue to collect them. And I especially enjoy it when I collect them in the field, but I enjoy buying them also. They're fun to look at, but I don't believe that they have any mystical or magical powers to make good things appear in my life. For me, they're little bits of creation that declare the glory of God. And God bless you.